Jessica Sheffield, how are you?
Good, and you?
I'm doing great. I'm really happy to have you here.
Thanks so much for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. I'm excited to get out the message of what we're going to talk about today. Before we get going, can you introduce yourself and give us a quick bio on you and your background?
My name is Jessica Sheffield Zamora. I'm a Costa Rican from Heredia who has lived in Nosara for 13 years. I'm a marine biologist with a master's in environmental resource management. My passion is environmental education. I'm also a mom of 2 kids,
Nice.
Kai and Lucia, a wife. I love getting involved in the community, and I love Nosara.
I think everyone who knows you has a pretty good feeling that you love Nosara. And you have a beautiful family that does a ton for this place.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
No, geez. Thank you guys.
I forgot to mention I'm also the co-founder of Del Mar Academy.
Everyone needs to publicly thank all of you guys.
Thank you.
You literally helped change this community in a massive, massive way. And I don't think, well, some of the people know, but very, very few people know how much stress and what you guys had to go through to get that rolling. That was not an easy feat.
That's it has to be one of the hardest projects me and also our partners have ever gone through. No doubt.
Yeah, you guys are in some serious karma points. So again, a heartfelt thank you from everyone.
Thank you.
And if they don't know they should be thanking you, I'm telling them right now. But you guys changed the community. Without Del Mar, I don't think we'd have the same vibe community, people coming in and level of willingness to help and things like this going on that we're about to talk about. So
Thank you.
You do a lot of community projects, but today we're talking about one in particular that you're pretty passionate about. What's it called?
The Guardians of Nature. I call it the Guardians of Nature movement.
Now, why do you call it that?
Because that's my dream, that it becomes a movement.
Ah, okay.
A children's movement in particular. Yes.
Now, why do you want to do that?
My passion is environmental education. Having a school, I can see the impact you can have in children. I've also worked for 10 years trying to solve the problem with the trash in Nosara. And, standing up there at the dump for many nights, many days. I mean, I haven't slept for many nights just thinking of the problem of our aquifer getting polluted and, the people that live there. And I've been there on a Christmas day and they are sorting trash. So it's a huge problem. And standing in front of that dump in the middle of it, a huge problem the community have. I said, this is not where we're going to win this battle. It's not going to be here. So I've been focusing a lot more on a long-term solution, which is education. I think that's the root of the problem. When you have to fight the municipality for 10 years, nobody has spoken to the people that works in the municipality about waste management. But what if the mayor and the council members and everybody from long time ago knew that this was very important, like from their core, from growing up, this would not be a problem right now. So, Costa Rica is well known for our efforts. People think Costa Rica and they think sustainability, right? And we're really good. We have like 25% of our land protected. We have renewable resources, almost more than 90%, like almost 95% of our energy is renewable. Now we're saying we want to be we want to do that decarbonization of the economy. So there's big ideas. The policies have been amazing. However, this is all being top to bottom. The government is driving this. But bottom to the top is our biggest hole because our children are not being educated. When I was in school, they never talked to me about, conserving water. Water was an infinite resource. That's what they told us. And when I was in school, waste management, they never talked about that. And little by little, more and more schools are talking about it. In the curriculum of the Ministry of Education, they've been strengthening more and more, and you can see it there in like science and social studies. However, that's our weakest link. If we really can strengthen our education system, and when our kids come into the school since a young age, And the teachers have the tools, because right now the teachers don't have the tools. If the teachers have the tools and our kids become, or they identify themselves as guardians of nature, we would really be solving not only environmental problems, we'll be solving also economic and social problems. So I truly believe environmental education, strengthening environmental education in our school system, it's the fundamental long-term solution for many of our problems.
So you got the main idea and vision for this from working basically at the Nosara dump, our illegal, if that's the right word to say, dump. It's when it hit you, we're working just like the government, just like so many other things. We're doing it from the top down as opposed from the bottom up. Yes.
I mean, when you ask people, there was a big meeting and people had to sort the problems of Nosara. The dump problem was like, it was there, but like very low priority. I don't think people understand the big issue and that how it's connected to water and what if it pollutes, our water that we drink. People don't make that connection because that's not being taught in our schools, So from being at the dump, from having a school, from seeing the impact, because one thing that I've learned is that children are teaching their parents. There's no doubt, because we all grew up when we didn't have environmental education. We never did, not our generation. But the children that do, the parents say, it is my child who has taught me not to use straws. It is my child who is telling me bring bags. And I've seen it at Del Mar, how parents have come to me and say, Jessie, my children are telling me to do this or this. And, I also been at the book fair and I've seen the book fair in San Jose. This is my first book, The Guardians of Nature and Her Friends Save the River. And this one is particularly about how trash travels. It's the story of 3 children. I think there's nothing better than literature and seeing something through the eyes of a character. So it's 3 children who learn how garbage travels from cities through rivers all the way to the ocean and how animals are eating it. And I had to write this book because after working 10 years with Nosara Recicla, I'm still part of a board member. I'm the vice president. But after working 10 years, it was very, how do I say it? It gets you down because the problem is huge. And this book was my escape and say, I need to think of hope.
Wow.
So, and I know children are the hope. They're the change. They're the one who are going to teach us who didn't know better how to do it. I truly believe this children growing up from preschool, believing they're guardians of nature, knowing the tools. Of course, we have to empower the children, the teachers, but I do believe these are the kids that will come up with all these ideas and see Earth differently than we've seen it, right? Our generation, generations past it's all like, how much can we take from it? And I hope that we change that. We change the chip. I think it's just changing a chip.
Let's go back into you for just a moment. What do you attribute this drive to? Because I know you said repeatedly the 10 years at the dump changed you, but I want to what got you to spend all the time at the dump? like what before that got you going this direction?
This is very interesting. So I'm one of 7. I have 7 brothers and sisters, and my dad works, my dad passed away, but he has a gas station that my brothers and sisters run now, and trucks. So I grew up with a school system that didn't really promote environmental education, as all schools in that time. With a family that wasn't like, that was not taught really. We always went to the farm and have fun and were outdoors, but this was not a big topic. So interesting enough, about in 6th grade, 7th grade, I have a good friend, Catalina, who her parents were both biologists.
Okay.
And I started hanging out a lot with her, and I would travel with her parents. Her parents were divorced, but I would travel with both of them to different national parks. And, Chris, her father, her father would stop and show us a tree and say, this tree is what sloths eat. And he was explaining how it stains the sloth's teeth and, went extensively on explaining like the connection and the complexity of nature, which I thought it was fascinating. That early, I said, that's what I want to do. And we started the first like eco club at school, and I had somebody there who supported me. Then I went vegetarian. Like, it really changed my life. Somebody else who to this day, Chris, Catalina's father says, but I wasn't even her teacher. And, he really changed my life without even knowing it.
Very interesting.
So that was very cool. And so in the school, that became my passion. So we started the Eco Club and we started cleaning rivers. And then I went to be a marine biologist and really work with a lot of environmental education. I used to do water monitoring with students, high school students in the Central Valley. And love that. And I was awarded a Fulbright and went to the United States and got my master's. Then I came back and then I married Bram and moved here.
Big shout out to Bram for being desirable enough to get you to move here.
Yes, never been to Nosara before, and I had no idea what I was going to do when I moved here because there was nothing. Like 13 years ago, there was a few things, but there was nothing. And I've always been very hard worker. Like I like to work hard. I like to put effort into my passions. And so I wasn't sure what I was going to do. I had my project in San Jose, but I had to slowly go away from the project because it was too far. It was too far to go back and forth. So I started working with the local schools.
Okay.
I started working with the local schools with environmental education. I started the Guardians of Nature, almost 13 years ago. And when I was helping at the local schools, I saw how much they were lacking. It was very sad.
Hey, can I pause for just a moment?
Yeah.
So how would you compare the public schools in the Central Valley compared to out here once you started getting into them?
Oh, it's day and night. And I think that's one of the biggest problems of where our coast or our rural areas stay poor because the quality of education.
Do you think most people know that?
I don't know. I think some people might assume it, but when you see teachers missing, I mean, the kids do have to go morning or afternoon, so they have very limited hours. Then sometimes the teachers have to go, they're sick or they have to go to a forum outside of here. The kids miss a lot of school. And when I was there, I saw one child chasing the principal with a broom to hit her. And I said, then I got pregnant with my first son, Kai. And I said to Bram, I'm going to have to move to San Jose once this child is of age because for me, what opened all my doors was education. We were middle class. My dad did have 7 children. He did struggle and in a business and a growing business. And he was very also community. He had he got involved in the community.
Okay, so you got your philanthropic bent from him.
Yes.
Where did you get your hard working from him?
From my dad.
I think the 100%. Fact that you are willing to work hard and you enjoy it, I think that's probably one of the reasons why you're able to make it in Nosara. Because 13 years ago, in Nosara is a little bit different existence than it is now. And then, heck, let's go back even further when Bram got here. I don't know if we've ever talked about this. Bram was my first friend here. Like, he showed me around the place in like 2001, 2002, and took me back to where you guys have your beautiful house now. And it was just like a big rancho.
Yes.
And his little Bunsen burner and some hammocks, and that was it.
He lived here. He lived 4 years with no electricity.
He's pioneered a lot of stuff, though. Not only being a Del Mar founder, he brought electricity all the way back there. And so much. There weren't that many people here back then, and the town wasn't then like it is now. Yes.
He's a brave man and like my biggest support. I work very hard but he supports me, and that means a lot.
Does he ever get mad? It's like, stop, settle down. You're doing too much.
All the time. He's my break. 100%.
So let me ask you, while we're talking about you personally, my feeling about you is you have a hard time saying no. And that there's always something to do. Yes. There's always another project. There's always something going on. Yes. And you need someone like that, like Burnam in your life, to be like, hold on, chill out for just a second here. Is that accurate? Or 100%. Can you look someone dead in the eye and just be like, nope, not doing that? 100%.
I think that's one of the biggest things that, that I have to learn and that I've been learning. One New Year's Day morning, I was crying because I made a list of everything I'm involved, everything I had to do. I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to do this. And it was funny because Ram sat with me and we started scratching and say, what things can you just start delegating? And one of the things is, I was so excited to get, Vero as the president of Nosara Recicla, because I want to keep supporting it for sure. I support it. I'm still in the meetings. But my focus, the Guardians of Nature is my focus. Del Mar Academy is as well. But Guardians of Nature is a little bit of the export of what I'm trying to do at Del Mar. And Del Mar is basically the lab. For everything that I want to do.
Well, it's cool that links up that way because you're able to get your true long-term vision and passion through something that's already right in front of you and your kids are already attending. And that's pretty cool. It
is because I see it as a lab and I would really like to, it's a big dream, but I would really like to transform the Costa Rican education system. And
hold on. So you're saying transform the whole Costa Rican education system?
Yes.
And is that just because there's a lack of focus on the items that you deem appropriate and it's just missing?
The quality has to improve, no doubt. The quality of the education overall has to improve. But introducing that component of environment and making it in a fun, meaningful way and connecting our education system with our natural, with our protected areas. I mean, why aren't our kids just going out more and learning out in the environment? Kids more and more have to be inside. And I think we are the country that could truly lead this. We are already a leader in so many other aspects. Why are we going to lead?
Like you said, that's exactly right. So whenever I bring up anything nature oriented to a visitor or someone who's just coming through, like, oh yeah, you guys in Costa Rica have it all figured out. It's like, what?
Yeah.
No, it's good. There's good stuff going on. The dedicated nature preserves are great. All that stuff is great, but in the education system, especially in the rural areas, it's extremely lacking.
And I think Costa Rica has been really good at selling this image. And that's why, we do have a lot of things to be proud. However, somebody asked me once, like, why do you think like trash is, is such a big issue, or wastewater? And I really think it's because it's not as attractive. It hasn't been as attractive to the politicians as well. It's much nicer to go open a national park. It's much nicer to, things that are positive. But I think with trash and wastewater, it's a little problem that we're just putting under the rug little by little, just here and there. And right now it's getting bigger and bigger. And, when I think of Nosara and the trash problem, this is just not of Nosara. There's about 122,000 families in Guanacaste that do not get trash pickup. It's insane, the amount.
I had no idea.
It's insane because a lot of the counties don't even pick up to 50% of the residents who live there. So what's happening with this trash? This trash is being burned. This trash is being thrown into empty lots. This trash is being thrown to rivers.
In the streams, especially in the dry season, they get all filled up.
So, when I was working at the dump and I said, I'm not going to win the battle here. We have to keep fighting it. We need to fix the battle, but I want to work in the long-term solution of this.
I got you. So that's where the books came from. And you only told us about one. What was the second one?
So the second one, this is The Guardian of Nature and Her Friends Plant Trees. It's a series. So this is for little children. It's interesting because a lot of kids, especially in rural areas, grow up without books. In America, everybody's so used to having their kids with this little library and reading. That's true. And when you're in Nosara in these rural areas, let's just take the people from Nosara. If they want to buy it, we have the Kids in Library, which is amazing. But let's say in another community they have to get further to get, just say, to Nicoya to buy a book. And when they get there, they have to pay for the bus, food to get there, and a book is not going to be a priority.
Right.
So children grow up without books. And, the first book, this one, we've already given almost 10,000 books donated.
That's
in
awesome.
1 year.
That is awesome. Now let's pause for a second. How'd you get that out there? 10,000. You have to publish that. That costs money. It takes time. How you have to get that distributed? Like, how'd you do it?
So the illustrator is my sister-in-law, who's amazing and donated all the work. I donate all the work. And then I've got some nice sponsors and good sponsors. I have the United Nations behind the project, which is very exciting. And, also, the Nosara, the Guanacaste Fund, Nosara Civic Association, the kids in Nosara have the book.
Many thanks to all those guys. Big shout outs.
Yes. And, the book is not just a book. It comes with a workshop. We give it with a workshop. And now we're creating a manual for teachers and a website.
Was the workshop for the teachers or the workshops?
The workshop is for the students, but we systematize it so anybody can have access and give it to any school, any organization. We're systematizing everything. And the whole project is to have free, accessible materials for teachers or parents.
That's pretty freaking awesome.
It's very exciting. We're going to launch for next school year our educational platform with tons of lessons, hands-on lessons for teachers where so they can go. It's free. They can download it and then they can rate it. So we'll see which lessons they like better. And the lessons are interrelated to the Costa Rican Ministry of Education curriculum. So it's not like extra work. It's like saying, okay, this is your Spanish class and we're going to relate it to environment and make it very fun for your students. And we give them a step-by-step guide.
So this has legs. It's growing, and it sounds like it's replicatable, and that's the hard part because there's only one of you, and you're trying to get this across Costa Rica, right? Mm-hmm. So the fact that you've built a system that somebody can, on the other side of the country, can implement, that's the key, right?
Yes, we have guardian mentors, and these are organizations that have taken the books, are working with schools and children, and we have right now 10 guardian mentors, and we hope to grow it.
You've already said you're looking at taking this Costa Rica wide. Are you going outside of Costa Rica too? Like Nicaragua, for example, has a massive issue with trash.
Yes. Beautiful
country, phenomenal country. It's going through a lot of struggles right now, but environmentally, one of their struggles is everyone just throws everything on the ground.
Yes. The idea is that, Costa Rica, again, is a leader. We have to be the leader in education as well for Latin America. A lot of the environmental education materials that you find are in English. Mm. And that I know, having Del Mar and a lot of the resources we were using were in English. And I said, but this doesn't help all the local schools. This doesn't help. No,
you're trying to get deep into the community, like where the real problems are. That 120,000 people, I think you said, who don't even have trash
collection. So the idea is to create all this free materials for all teachers in Costa Rica. And for sure, all the materials we create for here are going to be completely useful for any teacher in Latin America. Mm. And funny enough, I have teachers in Spain and in Argentina following the project, the whole initiative, which is very exciting.
Right on. Jeez. Yes. So your long-term vision, it sounds like it's just to get this out as much as you can and hit all of Latin America if possible. Heck, you're already across the ocean. You're in Spain.
Yes. Just there's one teacher there, but this is just 1 year. So I think it is the right time and the right place to get something like this really going.
First off, thank you for all this information. I'm learning a ton. Mm-hmm. Can you update us as to where you're at currently? Like, do you have any current projects outside of spreading this amazing message?
Yes.
Where are you at today on this whole thing?
We were chosen by the Costa Rican Nature for Depth swap. So we were one of the projects chosen. Nature for Depth swap.
Okay.
This is very interesting because United States condemns part of Costa Rican depth to the U.S. if Costa Rica uses this for conservation. And there is a big committee of different organizations that oversee this, including the American Embassy. We were chosen. And with this money, we're doing 7 videos. We're doing the educational platform. We're working with kids in Ojancha and Nicoya. And we just got a second big grant to work with kids in Nosara for next year.
Cool.
So it's very exciting because all the tools that we create with this are going to be accessible for teachers anywhere in Costa Rica.
Nice. So are you looking for more sponsors to get behind this?
Yes. I mean, the idea is to keep the operations very small. Del Mar is going to be the lab where we launch everything, and the operations are going to be small. But there's always needs in, for example, printing manuals
okay, I got you.
Or, for basic things.
Supplies and just ongoing needs.
Getting schools with, we want to get Nosara schools to start composting, all the Nosara schools. So things like that always need money.
Yeah, that makes sense. There's always a need for money.
Yes.
But so if somebody wanted, while we're in the subject, if somebody wanted to get behind this and thought this was pretty cool and they wanted to donate.
Yes.
Why don't we just go ahead and announce a website or walk us through that?
We have the website for the books. We're creating now the movement website with all the the educational platform. Should be ready by February. We're going to be able to receive tax deductible donations through Friends of Costa Rica. As well. I don't have the information, but that will be available. And we're also going to have a fundraiser. On Oloalaya, where I'm going to show pictures and everything, how this is really taken off, December 14th.
December 14th, okay.
At 5 p.m., I believe. And the idea is that a fun night. Kids are invited. Everybody's invited. So
family-friendly, December 14th, everyone get out to Oloalaya.
Yes. Many
thanks to Oloalaya for hosting an event. And many thanks to you guys for putting it on.
Yes.
We'll definitely help publicize that and get it out there. So... Currently, you're rolling. You could use some more sponsors, new websites, and everything. It's going to be coming together around February, which will be right around the corner.
Yes.
So at some point, people will be able to donate just directly online, or they could go do that right now via Friends of Costa Rica. Did I say that right?
Yes. They can.
Okay. I mean, if somebody feels like donating to you now, I just want to tell them how to do it.
Be able to do it. Sure.
Okay, cool. Future goals. I guess we talked about it a good bit. Your goal is basically to spread this message as much as you can and get it into other people's hands so that they can spread it.
Yes. And, the bigger idea is that there's always, we're bombarded by negative, news. Like, I don't like to watch the news. It's all negative, and they always focus on the negative. And I think in the world, there's so many positives.
But positives don't sell advertising.
They don't. And that's so sad because there are many people doing good things out there. And this is just one of them. But, in Nosara, there's so many things going on that are so positive. And it is nice to hear the good things as well. Otherwise, we're overwhelmed. And I think people feel overwhelmed from all the negative, and now with social media and everything, it's also very easy to get caught up in that.
You're really right. I'm super guilty of that. Also a lot of the stuff we talk about on here it's very unpleasant. Think about our roads and corruption and security and.
Yes.
I just go down the list, trash and just all of it. Well, that's why this episode's fun talking to you, because you have a solution-based message that's, hey, let's get this out there. Normally, we're having to identify the problem and say, hey, sorry about that road thing that you thought was coming. Looks like it's not, or maybe it is. I get your point, though. As far as social media goes, how do you personally feel about it? Because for me, it's actually a bit of a source of pain every day. When I pull it up and I just see what's in there. And I think a lot of that comes from being involved with the security stuff for so long. I think it's changing me mentally. Is that kind of what happened to you for a decade at the dump? Like, did you kind of get in the dumps part in the horrible pun?
Yes, I believe human beings, any human being needs hope. And whatever you do, you need to do, even if you're dealing with really hard stuff, like security, I think this is also doing this is a way for you to get your voice out and feel hope.
That's actually where it came from. I needed it. Because this is just what it is. I worked so hard and so much, and I want to be a husband and a father, and I want to do fun things, but to make it in Nosara is not easy. It's really hard.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's a beautiful place. And when you come on here on vacation, or if you just have a vacation home here, it's very different from living here full time all the time, through the ups and downs, and also having to make a living and dealing with massive amounts of competition. And then all the inner small town gossip, it adds up. And that's actually where all this came from. I was like, you know what? I can't take it anymore. Here we go. I'm going to do it. I'll fund it. I'll do the work. I don't care. I'm going to get it out there. But my thought was this will lead to the good stuff. But social media, in my opinion, leads us to the bad stuff. Like some of the Facebook pages that people get on. It's almost like watching a Jerry Springer television show. It's this horrible show in the States where it just appeals to the lowest common emotion. Yes. And that's what I've noticed. And I've actually run a couple experiments on this. And I've never said it publicly, but this is true. I'd go behind some of the negative things and I'd type something super positive just to see what would happen. Crickets. The obligatory like here or there or the little comment. But say something really negative.
It is all the comments.
There's too much talent here. There's too much money here. There's too much opportunity here. There's too much good stuff going on. And quite frankly, in Nosara, it's easy to focus on the negative. Anywhere you go, it's easy to focus on the negative, as you pointed out. But here, where else along the Pacific coast of Costa Rica do we have nature preserves literally interrupting the community so you cannot have massive development? We're really fortunate. Like, then we have the preserve along the 200 meters. Like, this is we can't be Tamarindo.
Yes.
So like thank God. I guess I kind of want to bring the walls down between all the companies and the people, and there's different organizations. And what I noticed in the past was every organization needs money. And every organization that needs money was tapping into the people who lived here. Well, the people who lived here are already tapped out. Like, they're already giving. Tell you what, the new people coming in, though, have money. So I want to tap into them. I think that's the solution. And I also think they want to give. I think they don't know. I don't think they know exactly. They know how to give money. I don't think they know exactly where. And they haven't gotten their hearts attached to the causes. And now I bet after people saying, you wrote those books are getting out there, needs funding. I hope someone listening engages.
That would be awesome.
That's the goal.
You know, one of the things that in Nosara Recicla, we have a lot of meetings, and all the organizations need money. But there's one thing that the organizations need more than money, and it's involvement. You can get this much done with a few people. You can get so much done when people get involved, when they give time. I mean, time is invaluable. So when if you people that have too much time to be putting all these negative comments on Facebook, they need to get more involved, in their communities, wherever they are. That's all there is.
Oh my gosh. And I'm going to take that quote you just said and I'm going to loop it. I'm going to turn it into an auto-tuned song or something. And whenever that's happening, I'll put on this link of Jesse saying, you need to get more involved. If you have time to type this, get involved. You can't be
a passive member of the community.
No, you can't. And that's what most people choose to do.
If you want to have a better community and you want to have whatever it is, better business, better real estate, better quality of life for yourself, better vacation, get involved because that raises the quality, and there's so many ways that you don't have to start from scratch, like there are many organizations here, more than 15, I think. Like, choose a passion and give a little time to one of those. I mean, that makes a ton of difference to any organization that we're working, because it is one less thing that the few, like Nosara Recicla has always been, now there's more people involved, but when you're 4 and you all have full-time jobs, there's so much you can do. But get people involved in a little thing, and then your reach is so much bigger.
Okay, so we've identified all this, and thanks for letting me rant, and I enjoyed hearing your opinion on the matter. But how do you get people involved? So I guess that's my question for you. Here's kind of where I think we're at. We're at a tipping point. Nosara is now popular. When you moved here, it wasn't popular at all. You only came here kind of if someone sent you here for the most part.
Never been here before.
Now it's just the opposite. People see it in magazines and online and all over the place. It's hip.
It's hip.
Which doesn't really make it too much sense because access is challenging. Our roads stink, our dust stinks. We don't have a lot of space. It's more expensive here. There's a lot of reasons why it shouldn't work, but the reality is it does.
It does. And, it is a jewel, no doubt. You need to also be tough if you like to live here full time. Like, it's hard. It's not easy. Only tough people make it. But I think that.
Or maybe crazy people. Maybe I'll throw that in there a little bit.
Yeah, that's true.
There's nothing wrong with being a little crazy.
There's nothing wrong. You need it a little bit. But I think for all the work that Nosara Civic Association has done through the years, it is what has made Nosara special. And everybody that is buying a property or building something, and they want to use as much possible of the land and not leave trees. I mean, we all love it here for nature. Mm-hmm. That's it. We're not choosing Jaco or any other place. It's because the nature here is just gorgeous. And that's what we like about here, getting out, right. and just our beaches and just the forest. But when you come and cut every tree, and then we could be without monkeys very soon. And then it loses its magic. And I think that's the balance. And the NCA is working very hard also to get like zoning. And, that is very important to get controlled growth. Everybody wants to be here, but it would be so nice that everybody moves and that they have to cut a tree because, if you have to build, you have to cut a tree. But the people plant too. And not a palm tree. Plant natives.
Use endemic species.
Use native species that will bring the birds, that will bring the monkeys.
Food sources. And don't put it right by a transformer.
Yes. And, Gerardo,
and have crossings.
Yes. Gerardo from Costa Rica has it. Harmony has it. I mean, there are ways to get to get natives. Mm-hmm. You get exotics. You really are, we're going away from the fauna here. And I think people move here because they love nature. I mean, otherwise you choose another place.
I agree. I guess from working inside the industry on the other side, I guess here's kind of my report card of it. For a little while there, I think it was going the wrong direction. Mm-hmm. I actually think it's coming back now. And here's why I think that. Mm-hmm. The architects and the engineers and the project managers are all now encouraging, hey, build around that. That's a tree. Great. That actually creates value. Mm-hmm. They're making it interesting. But when I first moved here, it wasn't like that at all. It was clear, have a clean slate. And that was kind of the template.
Yes.
Now the architects are factoring in a lot of stuff. And so I want to give a credit over there.
Yes.
Well, now we have Olas Verdes. If you go to the restaurant, it has trees literally inside it they built around. Mm-hmm. Even Lagarda Lodge has trees factored in. Mm-hmm. And the new Gilded was very courteous to the environment compared to what they had to do. So Surf Simply, which is our version of a surf resort, it's LEED certified. Like they're going for the highest level of LEED that they could. They didn't have to.
Yes.
So I'm encouraged to see the newer people seem to be dialing in, and I hope the people coming in behind them will follow that example. And if that's the case, then Nosara once again can become a model for.
Can become a model. Yes, I think Costa Rica can be a model for Latin America, and I truly think Nosara can be a model for Costa Rica.
Yeah, it's funny. Our model in Nosara is all off a big, huge failed golf course project. Isn't that kind of funny? Because this was all cattle field.
Yes. And
then they're supposed to do this golf course thing, and it never happens. And then those green areas.
And you can see there, I've seen pictures of Nosara's, in the 60s and 70s, and there were no trees. So you can see what you can do with a vision. I mean, you can see what Gerardo has done. I mean, I love that project because it gives hope.
Look at the beach 10 years ago. Yes. Not a single shade
Not
anywhere.
A single tree. But somebody put their effort and their passion into one project, and look what that does.
That's a good point. I think that one's easy to get behind because it doesn't cost a lot of money to buy a couple trees. And it also doesn't take a whole lot of effort to go plant a couple trees. Yes. And it's easy for an organization or people to go out and have a tree planting day.
Yes.
What you're doing is maybe a little more ambitious because you need other people to engage. And you're trying to go wide, like across the country. Yes. So that takes money and time, but it sounds like you have... It sounds like you're well on your way. I see it.
I say the Guardians movement because I want to sell this vision of Costa Rica leading this and people getting involved and behind that idea that we can do it. We're small. The funny thing is I was talking to somebody and saying Costa Rica's small enough where you can make this impacts, in a relatively short amount of time and see the what you're creating and see the impact right away. When you think of United States, the country's so huge that it's much harder than when you think a country like us.
That's true. So there's some immediate gratification for you to see results. Mm-hmm. It's interesting. I'm going back to the theme of it all. Mm-hmm. Nosara didn't used to have trees. Tourism brought the trees, essentially, because it was going to be developed. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then the trees have been growing this whole time. And now people are coming in, cutting the trees for the past while. So now hopefully we can get people to keep the trees that are supposed to be here, stop planting the ones that are not supposed to be here, because then that helps with the water system and it helps with the food sources for the natives, our native animal life.
We have to have a vision.
Yeah, well, I'm saying we kind of have this, right? Yeah, exactly. We have
otherwise we get. Nosara sells the vision that we want to be a sustainable community, and that means, recycling, conserving water, and getting involved.
Right.
If that's the vision that everybody that comes knows, like that's what we want as a community, it's so much easier to achieve it. But I think as Nosara, with all the organizations, we have to have a common vision.
Do you think am I being too optimistic by saying I think Nosara is actually the model for really all of Costa Rica, really all the world to look at? Put green areas interrupting your entire community and head down this direction. I think our tiny little town, because the people here are special. Like we have high-end, really smart, intelligent people. Yes. People just like yourself with master's degrees who could have went anywhere in the world and you came here. Mm-hmm. And now you're using your skill set here and now it's growing outward. But there's a lot of people who have a lot of influence around here that could help get this message out.
There is. I think Nosara has all the potential. Like you say, so much talent, so much passion out there that we could really do it. We still have many challenges. Right? Big time challenges, but they could be overcome. Yeah.
What do you think our biggest challenges are?
I think education. Children, quality education is essential because we don't want these kids getting out of high school or dropping out of high school and getting into drugs and crime. Like if that happens and these kids don't have hope, like up to go to get a better job or to go to university, then you're creating all this new generation, these generations that, the divide just gets bigger and bigger. And that's when, crime attacks.
Can we talk about that for just a minute? Mm-hmm. Because that's my biggest fear for this place. Anyone who listens to these episodes hears me kind of rant about this. I'm seriously worried about it because I think crime is probably our biggest issue. Mm-hmm. Followed right by probably our trash situation. Either one of those things can sink a town. They really can. Crime for me, I'm concerned about it. And here's why. Because if the crime situation gets too bad, the people who have the funding to do all the initiatives and get involved and do all these things won't be here. It'll kind of fade away. So we just lost our ammunition to do all the initiatives.
Yes.
So if we're not careful about that, and right behind crime, it's education. And it's not education for the people who have money who can afford to get an education. I'm not talking so much about their kids. It's behind the trees. Yes. It's the kids who don't have hope. They don't know that they could get a high level job. They don't know that they could be bilingual or trilingual or whatever. They don't know that they could get that high paying position at a local business if they work hard enough to get the education. Yes. So what I'm scared of is exactly what you just said. It's the people, if they don't get the education, then they get into all the bad stuff, and that comes back to crime. So we have a vicious circle.
We have a vicious circle. And, at Del Mar, like our graduating class this year, we have a local children. We have on scholarship. And seeing these children know perfect English, we have the IB, the critical thinking. These kids are really doing critical thinking and amazing jobs. And they always blow my mind because they have the drive. They want to excel. They know what it's been.
That's good to hear.
They know what it has been to be on, let's say, like on another system. And they value the education more than any of our other students. We have 8 new 6th to 8th graders that just came in, and they're getting tutoring after school to speed them up in math and English. And just seeing these kids, so excited. I see some of our seniors, who say, I want to be a forensic doctor, and and now they have these big plans, and it is very exciting to see how you can change your life like that.
So that's your payment for all those years of hard work that you guys did.
That's the payment. Having the school in the middle of the jungle that, that wants to be Montessori, IB, environmental, accredited, we wanted it all. It's not been easy in the middle of the jungle. I mean,
I guess what you're bringing up right now, and we'll have you guys back on to cover Del Mar in more depth another time. But that's why your scholarship fund's important.
Yes.
Because you got to get that kid in. And if you get the kid in, you have this. It's a win.
It's a win. That's what changes a community. You educate the people, and then they they come back, and I mean, maybe they go somewhere else, maybe they come back, but now they have the tools.
Yeah, or even if they do go somewhere else, it's wherever they go, it'll be a little bit better off.
Yes, they'll be better off.
Well, I really appreciate your time and bringing us up to speed on all this type of stuff. And I wish you absolute best luck.
Thank you.
And I'm really impressed. It's really, really freaking cool.
Thank you.
I'm glad that you're seeing some results quickly, because what you're doing is a long game. It's kind of like these podcasts like this. I'm not going to reach anybody right now, but maybe one day.
Yeah, well, Nosara teaches you patience, right?
It really does.
You have to be patient. Trying to solve the dump issue for 10 years, it's giving me a lot of patience and learning that, things will happen when they're going to happen. You have to keep pushing, but for sure, patience is something we all have to.
Wow. I remember one time when I was a kid, someone told me, never pray for patience. It's because the only way you can learn patience is by having to.
Yes, that's true.
And
that's true.
I think moving here does that to you a little bit.
Yeah.
I think my number one rule for living here is don't make sense of things. If you if you have to make sense and everything has to be in order, or you can't, this isn't for you.
Yeah.
Just
things don't make sense sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes 2 + 2 is not 4 around here.
Yes.
But I'd say there's a lot more good than bad. Sounds like you feel the same way.
Raising children here, here in Nosara, you mean? Raising children, I wouldn't change it for any other place. Nice. They are raised in nature, and what a gift that is to give kids, a place like this to grow up. It could not be more fun.
I try to tell my kids that. It's like, you guys have no idea.
They have no clue. I think they do, but they don't have a clue of what is. I do take my kids to San Jose, and then we're stuck in car, and it's like, I say, well, this is what people do every day, and so the bumps doesn't seem that bad then. That's
true, actually. I'd rather hit the bumps than sit in traffic.
Yes.
So let's talk about likes and dislikes. We know most of the likes. Well, actually, let's just start with that. Would you rattle off a couple of your favorite things about Nosara?
Nature. My number one favorite thing is nature. Also, the organization. I believe we're more organized than.
Now, when you say organized, you mean the community itself, or
the community itself? Friends of Nosara has a meeting the first Sunday of the first Sunday of January, where you have 13 organizations, 15 organizations come together and say what they've been doing. And that's my favorite meeting of the year, because yes, you see a lot of the struggles, but you see all these people really working like with very little funds or just with tons of love for what they do. So I think that's for those guys you're talking about right now. Yes,
that's where the growth of Nosara is good, because now we see more life and more vigor in these organizations right now than in years past, because now there's some funding and now there's more volunteers.
Yeah, the food bank and Nosara Animal Care.
Perfect example. The food bank, a lot of people don't know, prior to this version of the food bank, you had the Pastoral Social, and then some other people had put together like a basic type food bank, but it was always just kind of at this basic level. Fast forward to now, and
they're doing amazing.
It's cranking up, and different companies, from different industries, are all getting involved. Like that. That's really cool, and it's not just one thing. A lot of things really have momentum now.
It does. Yes.
Now, I don't know how you're going to get the dump situation fixed, because that's out of your control.
Yeah. Well, we're going to keep pushing the municipality, and we're closer than ever. Vero spoke a little bit about that, but our pressure to the municipality is not going to stop. Because legally, by law, nobody else can take care of the trash but our municipality. So we have to keep the education, but we have to keep pushing the municipality. Our only legal solution.
I get you. So on the dump situation and that being out of your control, let's move over to dislikes. So in Nosara, we all know the good stuff, and everyone's social media and websites are all great. What's some of the dislikes behind the scenes that people might not be aware of?
I think more overall is that, you know, when people stay in their little island and they don't know like the real challenges of Nosara, and you know, they come and they have their great house, all the comforts, but you know, there's the food bank for a reason. There are hungry people. You don't see
them when you just come on vacation, but they're back there.
You don't see them, but they're back there. So I would say make that more visible. I guess some people might not do it because, you know, for different reasons. Maybe, and then we stay in in the project, but a lot of the local community. I mean, how can we're in this gorgeous place? How can we help? Like the real locals, the people that have lived here and were born here and lived here, you know, how do we? I mean, by getting like let's say involved in it in any of the things, right? But not make the locals invisible. I think it is very important that there's people from all over the world here. But we can't forget of our local community.
This is what I think. I think the people who are coming through are well-intended. They do care.
Yes.
And if you stopped to talk to any one of them and they heard our discussion, they'd be like, they'd be into it. I really feel that way. I think when they come here, though, it's their vacation spot. I think that the people don't necessarily want to know because it shakes up
yes, like going to Cuba, right?
Conveying this at all?
Yeah, it's like going to Cuba. Like you want to have a fun time, where you really see the truth. It's it hits you, and then now the vacation is not as fun.
Well, yeah. So sometimes with like my clients, I'll start bringing it up, and I'm all fired up, and I just watch the eyes fade, and everything just kind of goes away. And I didn't understand it at first, and I used to get my feelings hurt. The more I think about it, it's like, you know what, I might. Well, you can't force anyone to do anything.
No,
and they need to want to do it, right? So we have to find a way to present the information so that they'll engage.
It's more like the visibility, and I think everybody should know about Friends of Nosara because you go to one spot, friendsofnosara.org, and you see everything that is going.
Right.
And then you can support with time or with a little bit of money, and even if you want to come and have a great time, and you're going to come for short periods of time when you come. Give back to one of those organizations, and then you're improving the quality of life, because they're taking care of the dogs, or, there's for everything. There's from summer schools to dogs to,
name it. People, trees, monkeys, just down the list.
Yeah, Nosara has it all, mostly all covered with different organizations. So that would be great.
And there's some ones out there that aren't quite on the Friends of Nosara list as far as like being 501c3 certified or anything, but there's still... Anywhere you look around here, you can find someone who's doing something. And also, I'd say for every company, no matter the industry, most every company has some initiative that they're behind. So it's not hard to find something to get involved in. I would want to take it a step further. Yeah. If we could pull down the walls between the companies, that would be really nice. It is kind of hurtful, like when one company puts a lot of money and time into this one thing, but then their competitors won't support it because they did it. Like, that hurts.
That is. And it
would be nice if that, I don't know if that'll ever get fixed. Maybe that's just how it is around the world. But if there's a place for that to work, I would think Nosara.
Yes. And people here are very given. And, Nosara Recicla started a program, pick up trash. And, we knocked on some hotels and they're all for it. So it is really nice.
Let's talk about that. We talked about it with Vero once. We should talk about that again. That's one of the coolest things ever. Yeah. The hotels, all competitors, linked up on this initiative. Yeah. I mean, I'm getting excited. Hear my voice like pick up. Like for me, it's like there's exciting. Hope. Yes. Now we can do that with every industry. But the fact that everyone linked together for the trash, for a common good, that
it's very exciting. I mean, we had no problem knocking on this hotels and say, we want to start a recollection route on Mondays, but you have to pay because we have to pay for the truck and the driver, and, Nosara Recicla sustained itself by donations because Recycle doesn't pay much. But they all said yes, and the idea is that the program is working so well that we want to include more and more hotels.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's very nice.
Maybe we can follow suit. Maybe the time's right. In the past, especially when the market was real down and there wasn't a lot of tourism, there was a lot more fighting because there was not there wasn't as much opportunity. Now that Nosara has become popular, I think now that everyone's moving, now's a pretty good time to where everyone can kind of homogenize or gel a little bit more, and that's exemplified in the hotel program. So good job on you guys.
Yes,
that's one of the coolest things I've heard.
It's really nice, and little by little, I mean, we're not solving the problem completely, but we're in the right track.
Yeah, definitely are. All right, let's talk about something lighter. In Nosara, we have a ton of restaurants.
Yes.
And I am interested to know what your 3 favorite restaurants are and what do you generally order there. In no particular order. It's probably hard to just say 1, 2, 3. So,
El Basilico. You have to love El Basilico and their tuna carpaccio.
Okay, really so good. Tuna carpaccio at Basilico.
La Luna is really good.
What do you like there the most?
like their veggie kebabs. I like Rancho Tico also for local food, or El Pepperoni has really good casado. They're really good. They have amazing casado, yes.
They do, you're right. All right, so you like a lot of the restaurants here, apparently. Me too. That's how I maintain this form. I have a last question for you. Do you have any shout-outs or thank yous or anyone, while you have this platform, is there anybody you'd like to recognize?
Yes, for sure. The Nosara Civic Association. You know,
for sure.
They do amazing. People like Bobby Johnson, who have been here for such a long time, are the people who have made this big difference in Nosara. Everybody should be a member, no doubt.
I think a lot of people just don't know. They don't understand it. They might hear rumors from a long time ago, and think that there's something there. Everyone needs to get involved.
They want to keep Nosara green and beautiful. That's the bottom line. And they're doing a great work. They truly are. So everybody should be a member. Then the Nosara Development Association.
They've been getting after it.
Led by Marco Avila. I mean, he works tirelessly. And they really have done. They do a lot of good.
Hey, can you give a quick synopsis of what that is? Because I don't think people know about that. Some people know, people who are very active know, but I think a lot of the people around here don't really understand what that is. So
these are, development associations are like micro local, not governments, but it's like the most micro there is, right? Then we have the municipalities, but there's development associations everywhere in Costa Rica. And they really help with the development of their communities. And, the Nosara Development Association has done a tremendous job, including forcing the vote. So we become our own, we have our own, it's not our own county because we would still be part of Nicoya. But, it's in that sense that we can have our own council that votes for things.
I gotcha.
We didn't win for very little, but they drove all that.
Came close.
It came very close. And, that was a lot of work. But because of that, Nosara is more united than ever. There's a group called Nosara Unida.
I'm glad you said that. I'm really glad you said that because I think after we lost the vote, a lot of people were just like, oh, gosh, man, now Nicoya is really going to come for us. Or really start messing with this. And you're saying that it's actually propelling us the right way.
It gave us so much traction even for the trash. Nice. Because now it's not just Nosara Recicla pushing this. Now they feel like everybody behind it is many, many more people. So Nosara, too bad that we didn't get it, but there's always a positive, and the positive was we're more united.
I'm glad you said that. A lot of people probably will benefit from hearing that.
Yes. And then lastly, my dad, I have to say Bram first, though. Bram has been support, but my dad, he always was involved with the Lions Club in Belén, where we were from in Heredia, and I saw the difference that he made in the community. From building the new high school to the sports place to helping poor people. And my dad had 7 children, a wife, and a full-time job to support all of us. And that was not an excuse to have time to get involved in that community. And I think that's the most beautiful thing you can give. I mean, there's no excuse. So a big shout out to my dad.
Yeah, right on. Well, I want to thank you, Bram, your family, all the Del Mar folks, all the Nosara Recicla, and I guess now we're up to the Guardians movement.
The Guardians movement.
So this one's your passion, though. Like this is the one that you can
This
smile
is
about.
right here. Yes.
Right
yes.
on. Hey, thank you. I promise we'll have you back for updates, and we'll do whatever we can to help out.
Thank you so much, Rich.